it says something about a person's character when you have long lasting friendships.
Yeah.
Like, how can you cultivate relationships?
Yeah.
Like, because so many of us like kind of brush over friendships just trying to get to a significant other. And it's like, this is really the training ground for
absolutely
relationships. Like, what kind of friend are you? Because you should be your partner's friend. How do you resolve conflict in your friendships? How do you communicate in your friendships? Obviously, it's going to be a little different with the partner, but it still will give you a basis of who you are as a person at the general level. And so to me, it's just like, when you don't have any long lasting relationships, it makes me, I'd be like, why? And not in a rude way, but like, I generally want to understand, because I have several friends I've been friends with for a very long time, and who are family now. Like, we're family. Literally. Welcome to another episode of the Sisterhood Debrief,
where we discuss all things sisterly,
godly,
and ratchet.
Okay, girl.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
What's up? Welcome to season 3, episode 2.
Hey, we in there.
Today we are going to be talking about navigating friendships as adults.
Yes, because friendship as adults is different.
Yeah, real different. It makes me just want to keep you and nobody else. But for real though. But before we get into that, we got to start with a little shenanigans.
Always.
So, would you rather?
I'm ready.
Don't do me like that. Would you rather find your soulmate or discover
who's
Daniel
Ezra?
Y'all, she on this new
I got no celebrity crush. If he's listening, hey boo.
He don't even know who he is.
I said his name.
Can't nobody heard that.
Oh, nobody heard. Daniel.
Speak clearly.
Excuse me. Daniel Ezra. I said it.
From All American. If you watch All American,
he's by Spencer Jones.
He is fine.
He is. And he's not my typical type.
He he low-key mine, but
low-key. But
okay, so let me finish this.
That's our question.
Then you can tell me that you still want to choose him. Okay, would you rather find your soulmate?
Okay.
Or discover your calling in life?
Oh, that's
right. That's why she over here.
I mean, kind of hard, kind of not. That is hard. What? I mean, because you can find your soulmate, but would you still feel unfulfilled because you don't know your calling?
That part.
And let me tell you, I'm single now. Sometimes, is my mama listening? Dang, that's her. That's her.
That's her messaging you right now. That's crazy. She listening. Jesus on the main line.
Let me tell you, it's hard sometimes. Like, I don't know, my whole life, I'd be like, Jesus, I ask for forgiveness later. Is that bad? Anyway. Moving on. I don't know. I would say, oh God, I'm going to say I would rather know my calling. I'd rather live a fulfilled life and ask for forgiveness later.
Y'all, read between the lines.
Yeah, you have to read. Okay. Yeah, I think I would rather live a fulfilled life. I would rather live a life knowing I did what I was called to do.
Yeah.
And because you can have the love of your life and feel really empty inside, and that's even worse than being single.
To hear the story,
right? It would be worse than being single.
Because I've actually experienced that. So for me, I would probably want to have my calling. Now, if I don't find my soulmate, it doesn't mean that I can't experience love with somebody, right? It just means it's probably not the one, but it is almost the one, maybe.
Close to it.
Might be a little gray area in there. But the reason why I say that is because I literally spent the first couple of years of my marriage feeling unfulfilled because I wasn't walking in my purpose.
Oh wow!
So it was because I was supporting his purpose. Again. If you've been watching for a while, listening for a while, being an educator was never my end goal. I started because I didn't know what the heck I was about to do. I was about to graduate. I didn't have no job lined up. 2 degrees, no job lined up.
Right.
So I ended up doing like, Teach for America, enrolling in that. Then I low-key got stuck.
Let me tell you.
Because when I got married, my husband was preparing for medical school, and medical school is an unpaid full-time job.
Right.
And somebody had to continue making, supporting the household. So with that came this level of, I can't do my writing, or I can't do my, whatever it is I'm supposed to be doing because I have to work. And that was very depressing. I'm almost certain I was depressed because he was actually the one who was like, I need you to do something that you actually love, so that you can get your life back together, because this right here is unattractive.
Oh, dang. Well, that's good that he, told you though, so you can, y'all can grow together.
Yeah, it was never like you got to do this until I get to where I'm gonna go, and then you can do what you want to do. He was like, nah, because you being miserable like this is not what I signed up for.
That's right.
Mind you, that's probably exactly how he said it, because he has no real filter, Virgos. But but it was helpful. And it allowed me to like really start walking and pursuing like whatever my calling was, which I eventually discovered was, like impacting and encouraging people to share their stories, whether that be through writing or through whatever else I might do, ministering or therapy or what have you. So definitely would need to know my calling, and then I can find somebody who I feel like there's a way that they can come in and be who I need them to be, or grow who I need them to be, without them being a soulmate.
Right.
I don't think everybody meets their soulmate. I sometimes think people can be cultivated into
person you desire.
The person. Yeah, I absolutely believe that. Some people just don't like to put in the work that is required for that, but that's a whole nother.
Right. That really is. I got something to say. But yeah, I think I like that. I can imagine how like almost feel like you had to put yourself on the back burner, and like I think about myself sometimes when I just get caught up in work and I don't do what I love. Like I told you last week, it was like, pretty much like I'm having a rough day, but I need to create some content because it helps me feel more like myself. Yeah. And purposeful. It felt purposeful. It feels good. It has endorphins too when you're walking in purpose and you're following. And now it's like a because I've done what I'm supposed to do. I filled my cup enough to go and do the stuff that I quote unquote have to do. That's so true.
Which again, balance. We talked about that in the last episode. Like there has to be a balance in your life. If you're not taking care of yourself and doing what you are literally put on this earth to do, like you might not be put on this earth to just love somebody else. Right. Yet you put on the earth to maybe impact, to create, to encourage, to do all these other things. So, doing that could position you for the extra stuff that you desire. And that's a whole nother thing. Like God really functions off of obedience. So like when you start to do whatever it is that he called you to do, then he opens up those doors for the other stuff that you feel like is never ever going to come, that you pursue out of disobedience. But if you like refocus and recenter on what he called you to do, then those other doors do open.
Girl, I need that word.
So,
because let me tell you,
I mean, that's been my life. I ain't gonna
sometimes it'd be hard doing what God called me to do, because I'm like, I have to work because I have bills, I have to support things like that. And I'm so depleted sometimes from work that I'm like, I don't even have the energy to write a blog post, to create a YouTube video, to even get on Instagram some days to write a caption about anything. And I know like that is part of my calling. I know part of my calling is to encourage women. So that's good, because sometimes I get so focused on like, God, we have a timeline over here.
Listen, that was this whole pregnancy deal, but it literally was not until somebody actually told me that. I think it was my sister Erica. She was like, do you realize that after you said yes and was ordained as a licensed minister, like a week later, you found out you was pregnant? She said it, and so did Michael, my stepdad. So I was like, I never really thought about that, and I kind of like shrugged it off. But after more reflection, it was like, that level of obedience and sacrifice of self is very rewarding spiritually on the other side. So
because it helps it's not like you do this, God's gonna do this type thing.
Yeah, it's not a bartering system.
Right. Because some people might think that, but that's definitely not what it is. But it's more so like you've aligned yourself into the will of God that you can walk directly into those blessings. So
come on, word before the word supposed to come at the end of the episode.
But you know, it's just for like, I know, like for me, when I created first created my very first blog, The King's Daughter, it was for new Christians because I felt like we were being easily strayed away. And so it's stuff like that. Like when you hear people say, oh, well, I listened to God, or I did what God called me to do, and then I got blessed. I got pregnant. I got a house. I got a man. You're like, okay, let me just do this because God's going to do this. Because that's not how it works. Because you can do what God calls you to do, and it still might be a waiting period. And just know that it's all for your good. Okay. That's the word.
That's the word. We might not even need a word.
Let me tell you, we gave y'all early.
We gave y'all the word early.
Let me tell you.
Okay.
But
digest
that word. Okay. But back to our topic, we told the people that we're going to be talking about adult friendships. So if y'all don't know, we mentioned it last week, but me and Brittany have been friends. Me and Brittany met in 8th grade, actually.
Yeah.
In middle school. And we have been best friends since 9th grade.
I was going to say 9th grade. Well, she saved my life, y'all, but that's another story because she didn't really like me. I don't know if she liked me.
I did not.
Anyway.
But, yeah, we've been best friends since then. And first of all, people be surprised that we are still, not only me and you still best friends, but we are still friends with our, most of our friend group from high school. Yeah. People are like, y'all still talk to each other? Like, yeah.
Listen, and them the only people that I talk to from high school, low key, but no offense, y'all.
It's really because
class A.
It's really just though, again, relationships.
Yeah.
You know, like I didn't really even try to cultivate any relationships with anybody else in high school or after high school. Even the people I went to college with, I didn't really hang out with them.
Yeah, I mean, I left college with a few good friends who like
college, the people I met in college,
with us pledging organizations and you know we were both heavily involved on campus. I feel like so we definitely came away from college with like organic and long-lasting friendships. Yeah, it's definitely the friendships that came after 25.
It's different when you get friends after then. Because you really have to like categorize people at that point. Like, what type of friend really are we? Because are we work friends?
Right.
Are we really like business friends?
Because when I quit this job, are we still going to talk to each other? Are we just going to like each other's stuff on Facebook? Like that, I feel like people really miscategorize, if that's a word, are like overly defined friendships that are really meant to be just what they are in this space, in this time, in this season. Right. Like we are friends because we go to the same church. We are friends because, you know, we work together in the same department. Right. We're only friends because we chose to collaborate on this business endeavor. Yeah. And that's honestly it. And sometimes things can get very confusing for people when they feel like, or even you, when you feel like it should be more, or you expect more. And I think that's where I have been the most disappointed. Yeah, expectations. Unmet expectations of what, because that's, at bottom line, I feel like with us, like the tone was set. Like, I know what type of friend you are. And I know what type of friend I try to be to you. Yeah. Whether, you know, it's with fault or not. Right. We're human. When we're trying to both have room to grow. When we try to be this type of friendship with other people and then it's not reciprocated. Yeah. That's where I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Friendships as adults, I slightly be judging people. Because I feel like if you have no one that you talk to from your childhood, I kind of be like, you don't have no friends from childhood. Like not one, because I think it says something about a person's character when you have long lasting friendships. Like, how can you cultivate relationships? Like, because so many of us like kind of brush over friendships just trying to get to a significant other. And it's like, this is really the training ground for
absolutely
relationships. Like, what kind of friend are you? Because you should be your partner's friend. How do you resolve conflict in your friendships? How do you communicate in your friendships? Obviously, it's going to be a little different with the partner, but it still will give you a basis of who you are as a person at the general level. And so to me, it's just like, when you don't have any long-lasting relationships, it makes me, I'd be like, why? And not in a rude way, but like, I generally want to understand, because I have several friends I've been friends with for a very long time, and who are family now. Like, they're family. Literally family. Like, when I make lists for events, like you're in the family category, right? Like, these are the people that have to A-list. And then now I can think about the people who I consider friends. But on that note, like, I definitely understand, coming from a therapeutic standpoint, I do know like that sometimes environmentally people may not have like those long-term friendships, because I mean, you may be a military brat, so maybe you traveled a lot as a child, or you know, you may have been in foster care, or may have been in different, you know, may have not had a stable home environment, and that's why. But when it comes down to like, oh, your friends, most of your friends are seasonal, or convenient friends, or you know, unconventional friendships, that is questionable to me, because I just feel like, what is the purpose of the friendship at that point? Like, are you only friends with this person because there is something that you need from them in this moment, in this time, and once you get that and you move on to something else, it's like, okay, now we barely, you might barely hear from that person, or, you might barely reach out to that person. Like, where was the genuine connection to where it caused you to say, hey, that's my friend? And I think one of the things that I've always been this way, I'm open to most, now not so much, but I used to be very open to like new people, new experiences. I've always been on team not new friend.
Everybody was a friend. And my mom used to tell me, she was like, everybody ain't your friend.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And Chris says it now. My husband, he's like, that's an associate. And I'm like, that's a weird thing to call somebody. Like, hey,
but it's the truth.
Here's my associate, Alex, guys. Like,
it helps. But it helps with expectations. It does. Because I have a different expectation from an associate to a friend, to a close friend, to a best friend. Like, there's different things I'm going to expect from each one of those categories. And if I properly categorize you in my life, then I will have, if I in my mind, I have you as a friend, but you're really an associate, you're right. I'm going to be disappointed because you're not going to meet up to what I expect of a friend. And so that's why it's important, because it really is going to benefit us, you, if you properly categorize people, because then you know how to move, you know who to trust with certain information, and you will leave friendships or those things less hurt by people.
So then, okay, so here's a question. How do you set boundaries, maybe in the beginning, or whenever you actually figure out that this person is like, oh, we're just business colleagues. Right. We hang out, we might go to brunch together, we might, do whatever together, but the reality is there's not a non-business related friendship here, or a non-work related friendship, or whatever the category is. How do you place boundaries on that type of relationship when it may not be clear on what it is?
It's about what I talk to them about. I think the biggest way to it's not rude, like we only talk about, but if we only talk about business, I would hope that I would categorize you as a business associate, maybe a business friend, but I still think friend would be too close for me if I just only talk to you about business. But if we talk about just a certain topic or a certain thing, can that relationship evolve over time? Yes, because I've had work associates who I would consider my friend now, that I have hung out with outside of work and gone through life events with people. So those would definitely, I would consider a friend, but not everyone. Most of the people I talk to at work are definitely just my work friends, my work associates. And I keep them that way because I don't tell you, there's certain things I'm not going to tell you. And I think that's part of it. Sometimes when you're an open book like me and you, we're easily divulge a lot of information to people.
Right.
Just trusting, because I mean, this is who we are. While I've had to learn to not share everything with certain people.
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want people to feel closer to you than what they truly are. Because you don't want to
still struggle with that. Like
lead people on to think that we're more than that category that I put them in. Because when you start getting real personal, they think they're your best friend, and you not.
But then it be stuff
I gotta let
like,
the people know
you're not.
You're not.
But then it's stuff like, okay, so currently, right now, this week, I have been creating my baby shower list.
Okay.
To the friend who's partly planning the baby shower, it's 100 people plus on this list. Okay. So don't judge me. Somebody was like, you having a wedding or a baby shower? So on the list, I categorized people. It was family first. So that went from, my parents all the way down Chris's side, all the way to friends who are family.
Right.
And then it went to just friends. So you got work friends, you got high school friends, you got line sister friends. Like, and it just
that'd be the struggle when you gotta bring in
like
people
all
from your
these,
chapter. Be like,
mind you, I have 43 line sisters.
Y'all gonna have your own event.
Mind you, I'm not inviting nearly half of that, but I'm just saying, like, it's always like a thing.
A lot of people,
So when I'm putting people on the list, I literally was adding people to the list as I was talking to people at work about the list. I was like, it's so many people on the list, and I'm like, I'm talking to you about this, so now I feel like I gotta add you to it. Because these are legitimately like they're friends, but we hang out outside of work. We have like little like self-care days with all the ladies at work, not all of them, but like a little group of us at work, and like I consider them to be my homegirls. So it's like, why would I not invite them? Then I think about places where I invited people from old places that I worked, because I feel like I still have those relationships. We still talk, so it's just very challenging, because if I was to go through the list and be like, technically, I haven't talked to you in the last 3 months. Technically, like all these people start coming off the list, and then people feel some type of way. My students, Miss Jackson, you having a baby shower? I'm
tell them they can throw you one. They can plan one at your school.
It's so overwhelming. Mind you, my students are not my friends, but their parents. Some of them I've had students who I've taught, and I'm really cool with their parents now, and we text and we talk and stuff like that. So y'all pray for me, because clearly I need to draw a line somewhere. But that's kind of how like my thought process is. And like I said earlier, people like Chris and my mom, and even you, like give me reality checks all the time. Like, sis, that's not how this relationship really works. So I don't know. I just really struggle with those boundary lines, and like I have this idea of like, if I don't do this or include this person, they are going to feel whatever emotion that they might feel, because now it's like, oh, I thought I was a part of
But is that your responsibility to manage other people's emotions?
Oh yeah. The therapist in me says no, because that's what I would tell a client.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's still very difficult.
It is. I'm not gonna say it's not, and that's very much like, I mean, I'm way more probably matter of fact, like it is what it is type person.
Virgos.
I'm very much like, I mean, but that's how I plan my list. When I'm planning events and hosting stuff at my home, I go through my text message thread
list,
and I'd be like, have I talked to you? Have I talked to you? And if you're not within the last couple of months,
the better question is,
you're
who
not
has
getting
texted me?
Yeah, it's that. It's not who am I hitting. But first of all, you only have about 2 times of me hitting you up first.
Hello.
Before I'm not hitting
Why am
you
I
up.
always checking on you?
I just because I have so much going on. You have so much going on. Who has time for one-sided friendship?
And I feel like even with us, like we are very intentional, like throughout the week. We both at one point during the week will check in with each other. And there are a few people I can pull up in my messages right now where I'm initiating contact. So I get that some people have their own things going on.
Right.
Mental health wise, like COVID has really like shifted how people handle and deal with things.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to remind myself again, mental health wise, therapeutic wise, I'm able to do it in the moment with clients, but in my regular everyday life, I'm fine. I'm not struggling. I'm not. So sometimes I'm just like, well, why, it's such and such, or this person or that person. Like, it just seems to be such a weight on them.
Right.
I don't understand that. So my way of trying to understand is I will reach out to you. But come on now. I'm in the mid crux of COVID teaching little snotty nosed children every day who got a cough and sneeze in your face with their mask down.
Right.
And I'm in school. I have, internship, business, and pregnant.
And got a husband.
And a husband who, love him to life, but I'm supporting him right now. That is a lot. And it's a lot that a lot of other people would not even take on.
Right.
Check on me. Yeah. Check on me. Because I just feel like it shouldn't always be me saying, hey, how you doing? Just checking in. Da, da, da. I try to do that. And I know that I've been the person to not check in with others. So I'm just very intentional, like with people who I know have, reached out to me at some point to check in with them.
Right.
So I don't know. I just, the one-sidedness, like you said, is just very, at this point, it's like a non-negotiable. Like
it definitely
it's a deal breaker for me.
I mean, at this point, I will cut you off. No remorse at all. Because I just, like you said, all of us have a lot going on.
Yeah.
So understand everyone has ups and downs. But there also relationships are two-way streets. So if I'm always having to pull you out of a rut, if I'm always having to be your counselor, unofficial therapist and all that, but I cannot depend on you when I need you, I just cannot deal with relationships like that because I cannot be drained down. Anymore. I have to control my own mental health. And I'm the type of person that all the time, I take on other people's issues. I like, okay, how can we solve this? Like, it's my problem. And I realized how much that was bringing me down. And I had to stop. I had to tell myself, like, nope, that's not your issue. Like, you cannot help. You can offer a solution one time and it's on them, but it's no, like, keep coming back, and we having, like I said, unofficial therapy sessions multiple times a week, every week. You're not paying me, sis. I just can't do it because, again, I have to protect my mental health for that sake. And I just think adulting, friendships as adults, or you have to be way more intentional because it's not like high school or even college when we are always together. Like, think about it. You become friends with people in high school, probably people who you had classes with. Y'all go have lunch at the same time. Y'all were together 8 hours out the day. It's very natural for you to have make time. Right. Very natural for you to be fun friends. In college, probably in the same organizations. A lot of my friends from from college, either we were roommates or we were in the same organizations. Right. And so we obviously were together majority of the time. We might have even had the same major majority of the time together. When you become an adult, that's why work friends, I feel like, take over your life as adults, because again, those are the people you spend your most time with. But you also have to have boundaries with them, like how much are you divulging with somebody that you work at that with? Point, there, things could be used against you later. Because you got to see, like, are you really my friend? Are you you the people on the come up, especially in corporate? Oh yes, corporate. Because like that's where you would be corporate. As far as like the educational realm, it's really not that much different if somebody trying to climb up a leadership ladder. So you gotta be careful. But boundaries, cool. What does it look like to have or to establish healthy friendships as an adult? Like today, even though we teamed on new friends, if we were to meet, one of us met somebody and we're like wanting to have a genuine friendship with them, right? What does that look like? Where did we meet them at? I'll give you an example. Because this actually happened. So when I found out I was pregnant, I told you how important it was for me to like have somebody else who was on the same journey. Bump buddy. Yeah, bump buddy. Okay. So I did end up meeting this girl I told you about. We went and had dinner, and we have not met up since, and we kind of infrequently text each other now. But if I truly wanted to establish a friendship with this girl, inclusive of her partner, along with like my husband, right? What does that look like? I think if you're trying to have somebody, so this is someone that you would like to like their child and CJ will grow up together type thing. I would first start by having double dates. To make sure like the husbands are cool with everything, and this is what I desire. Make sure my husband's cool with it, and go from there. Start talking about pregnancy and like really starting to establish like some commonality there, and then move on to life things.
If it like, naturally beyond the pregnancy though, because we're not gonna be pregnant together.
Well, you talk about different like things, but that's when you start to find like what commonalities you have. Like, oh, what kind of like, are you creating a playlist for labor? Like, oh, what are you putting on your playlist? Or so you start finding little things that you can learn about the person to see if you have commonality, and if you do, I feel like it will naturally flow. Like it makes me think of my work friend. One of my work friends who's probably listening. Hey girl, you know who you are. She, first of all, me and her have the same, my original celebrity crushes, Christopher Maurice Brown. And don't come for me just because I didn't send for you.
The whole name, though. The whole name.
So if you didn't know, now you know. Me and her both enjoy him as an artist. And I mean, he's not bad to look at either. So there's that. And but me and her didn't know that about each other originally. And she would probably tell you, if you ask her about our work relationship, she would probably tell you that I was not the nicest person when we first met, because
I would believe her.
She used to say hi to me. Well, me and this other girl we go for walks on our break when we were in the office, and she'll be walking. This lady will be walking with another coworker, and they will pass us like walking, and she would say, "Hey," and I would be like very dry hi. But that's only literally because I probably had a lot on my mind. It was not intentional. I try to be nice to my coworkers because you never know who you're going to work with in the future or who's going to become your boss. But I also don't go to work to make friends, because I've tried that before, and I know the feeling of being hurt by somebody you thought was your friend as they tried to climb the corporate ladder.
Absolutely.
So, but when me and her started sitting closer together in proximity, we started realizing we had commonality, and it naturally became a friendship outside where we text each other, we talk to each other on the phone, we pray. We've gone to brunch a couple of times, even like during COVID, since we don't even see each other anymore because of work. You get used to seeing your work friends all day. But it was very natural. It wasn't like forced. And I feel like that's the biggest thing about friendships, is that the moment for me that it feels forced, it makes me reevaluate it. I want it to be very natural, whatever that is. Whether that is, I think about my college friends. Sometimes I could talk to them every day for like 2-3 months, all the time. We got a group chat that's popping, and then it will go dry for like 6 months. But we're still like, those are still my college friends. Those are still people I would care about. They need me, I would definitely be there for them. But that's just the type of friendship that we have, and that's okay. And we can pick back up where we left off when we start talking again, and it go from there. But I'm not pressed to talk to someone every day. I'm not going to force a relationship with anyone, and I'm not going to be made to feel that way, because no one likes to feel like they're like I'm pushing myself onto you. That's uncomfortable.
It is.
Like, am I begging you to be my friend? Absolutely not.
Especially if the person who you're doing that to doesn't know how to communicate what it is and tell you not to do it. Because sometimes essentially it just comes off as like they ghost you, and then you feel some type of way, and now they this and that, but really it was you who caused them to feel like they needed to do that. So I get it.
I don't, because I'm not begging. I just think that's weird. I just think that everything should be natural. I mean, I think that goes with anything. I think at this point as an adult, most people know what, I'm not gonna say everyone, but most people know what healthy friendships look like, at least. Even if you haven't experienced
that, learn it, figure it out, because at this age, it shouldn't be toxic. No. It shouldn't be, and I'm not saying toxic in the social media, we overuse this word, everything's toxic. No, like it should be a healthy relationship, not something that is one-sided or something that you use to manipulate and abuse and use somebody. But no, I totally agree with what you said, because with this particular girl, we spent a lot of time at dinner talking about, like, we almost were like interviewing each other.
Okay.
Like, you know, what do you think about this? What's your philosophy here? What, you know, some faith-based things that you consider. What's your parenting philosophy?
Right.
You know, like, she's not married to her baby's father, but they've been together long enough to be considered common law. So we even talked about, like, okay, what are your relationship, like, values, expectations, beliefs? Because at the same time, while we are connecting on a pregnancy, just like you might connect with somebody because y'all work together, when you begin to navigate that relationship outside of that arena, it's important that y'all have, number one, something else in common, but that y'all are kind of on the same wavelength. Like being equally yoked, just like you would in a romantic or intimate relationship with somebody. So just not being afraid to ask the questions. Like, we're beyond the point of going to dinner with anybody and we just sitting there talking about superficial things. Yeah, I'm asking you all the personal questions, and not in an invasive way, but the goal is we're not wasting time. Nope. We're not, like, again, if in my mind, I'm genuinely like, I'm done making friends, but I'm like, oh, I kind of want to open myself up to this particular opportunity with this person because there's something valuable that I see in you. Right. Then I need to know that I'm not steering myself in the wrong direction. Yeah. So I'm asking all the questions, whether, you know, it be for the purpose of getting to know you or, you know, establishing an actual friendship outside of wherever we actually met one another. So yeah, I think those are some good tips. No, yeah, because like I said, natural. Like, you don't want. Again, forces seems weird. It's nobody wants, but it dies off after a while. Like, after a while, it genuinely, like, when things are forced, it eventually begins to wane, and you can feel it. It's almost like every time I choose to reach out to whoever this person might be, it's like, do I really want to open up that box again? Like, I ain't heard from them in a while. That might be a sign God telling you to just leave it alone, but you kind of feel obligated because there's been no true closure. But the reality is, the closure may not need to be anything official. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a conversation. I mean, I had to learn that in relationships, like, because I always be like, you know, I need closure, and I dip back in. But it's like I just think about my last situation. It's like, I didn't get closure, but I'm, like, perfectly fine with it. It was, the ending of that was definitely from God. So it was like, it was a closure I needed. And I feel the same way with friendships. Yeah. I believe that, like anything in life, people have seasons, and everyone is not a lifetime friend. And sometimes people go their separate ways as friends and they come back at a later point in life. Like, I've seen that with my mom. Like, I'm lucky to have seen my mom have very healthy relationships with other women throughout my life. So I've seen different phases of friendships with her during different points. The friends she met because of activities with me and my sister, the friends she's made at work, the friends, like, she is still best friends with her best friend from kindergarten. Yeah. Like, beautiful. That's, like, to see that relationship and what that looks like. They don't talk every day. They probably talk, I don't know, maybe once a month or so. But when they go to St. Louis, you would think that they have been together every day. Yeah. Like, that's how tight they still are. And so if you haven't been in a healthy friendship before, maybe there's someone around you that you could learn from, or you can watch and observe to kind of see, and definitely pray about it. Yeah. Because the Bible tells us that we should be in community in so many different verses in different ways. Community. I mean, Jesus had disciples. Facts. So, I mean, like, we're not meant to journey. We're not meant to journey through life alone. So definitely pray about it and ask God if you truly desire to have healthy friendships. You pray about it. I think God will honor that because God desires for us to be in community. Yeah. And when in that prayer, make sure you're assessing yourself as well. Yeah. I try to do that a lot. Like, what am I doing to maybe either push a person away, or what am I doing to hold on to something that I don't need to hold on to? You know, like, asking for that guidance, that wisdom, that discernment, and then look to people who have healthy friendships and relationships, like Alex said. But also, if you don't see it, one of my ways of navigating even romantic relationships, I literally was like, okay, I see what I don't want.
Yeah, that's true.
The opposite has to be healthy, because I know this thing right here that I'm seeing, whether it was from like, you know, my parents or from things I may have seen on TV, like this is not healthy. So it's got to be the exact opposite, you know. So when somebody would come and show me the exact opposite, it was like, oh, okay, so this is what, you know, is considerably healthy. And then once you begin to navigate and explore and discover that, you can kind of, you know, filter out what is false and what is real. But you have to be willing to be open to learn. And I think that's a lot of times what we struggle with, especially at a particular age. It's like, I'm just good, and I'm not, I've been me for how many every years, and I'm not gonna change. You know, I've heard that in therapy a lot, especially with couples. They come in, and I've had one partner in the couple unit, and they'll say something like, I really don't think I need therapy. I'm just here because my partner wants it, because I'm gonna be the same person that, oh, well, then this is not going to work, ma'am or sir. So like, it's the same thing with, you know, relationships with friends and other loved ones. So
what about talking about like growing, and I'm just gonna be this way, what is it like navigating conflict in adult friendships? Because I mean, conflict happens, things like you don't see eye to eye, or you be like, oh, that rubbed me the wrong way, I didn't like how this was done, or you said that. What is some good tips to navigating like conflict in adult relationships, instead of being like, on this, I'm just done with you, because that's not healthy.
So I literally attended a conference recently where this was a question.
Okay.
And it was a panel of mental health professionals. They were phenomenal. And I couldn't agree more with some of the things that they shared, but most of it centered around, like, again, boundaries. So if you have done something to cross, first of all, you have to know what your boundaries are. So that's the biggest thing. Whatever the relationship is, what is the boundary for that particular relationship? Whether it be a boundary concerning your time, concerning access to you, concerning things that you are willing to tolerate as far as communication, or, you know, even jokes. Some people, you know, can joke with me, some people cannot, because we don't know each other like that. So you have to know what those boundaries are, and you have to actually communicate them. Sometimes you don't know what they are until they happen, and you have to be okay saying, oh, this made me feel this way, like reflecting on it. This made me feel this way. And now I need to communicate with the person who made this feeling occur, to let them know, and let them know how to move forward. And if they choose not to honor that, first of all, that tells me that you're not my friend at all. Now you're saying, you know, that this is just who I am. And if you can't, okay, well, you know, if somebody comes to me, and I've actually had this happen. Somebody came to me one time, and it was several days after the fact. So that was like, threw me off a little bit, but they needed the time to process. They came to me and they said that I had done something that they essentially thought was basically unfriendly. And in the moment, I was like, well, this is what I do all the time. So in that moment, it was like, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. But them expressing that to me let me know also that, oh, we are not as cool as I thought we were. Because if I can't do this with you, then you're not on the same level as the friends that I have that might be over here who I can do this thing with. And that's okay, because now I know. But I would not have known had you not expressed that I had crossed the boundary with you. And I will make sure that I don't cross it again. But on the flip side, that does actually put you in a different category of friendship now, because it makes me have to be more cautious about who I am and what I'm being and doing in and around you. So it's definitely about communicating. If there's conflict, communicate it just like you would with anybody else. Tell the person how whatever they did made you feel. If a boundary was crossed, let them know, like, okay, here's how I appreciate you moving forward in this, considering this topic from now on. And then the chips kind of fall where they land, because that person then has the option to either abide by those boundaries and continue to pursue a friendship with you, or be like, this is too much, no new friends, this is exactly why.
Right.
Or, you know, it could just be because they're just they have their own issues and they're just not willing to grow.
That's good.
And then that's somebody who you wouldn't want in your life anyway.
Yeah, we should all want to grow. Yeah. Living things grow.
Yeah. So
that's what my second grade told her.
Things grow. I love that.
So
oh, come on, Kendall. I know, right?
But speaking about boundaries, it's also like we're going back to how do you establish healthy relationships and how do you like kind of categorize people is you have to know the boundaries and you have to respect them yourselves.
That's true.
Because if you say this person is a business person, but y'all going out every weekend, y'all doing non-business stuff majority of the time, is that really your business friend?
Yeah.
Like you have to say, okay, this is how I'm categorizing this person. This is how I see you in my life. You kind of have to keep them in that box so they stay there.
Or
maybe they're not.
Adjust how you're categorizing them.
Right.
Because a lot of times we go into new relationships closed-minded, like this is just this thing.
Right.
And it does become more.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this person is more of a true and authentic friend. They've shown themselves to be trustworthy or communicative with you. And y'all are beyond the business titles at this point. So then adjust that title that you're giving them, because you know, it's like the awkwardness you've seen in the movies where people go to like weddings or you're with like your partner and you go to like a family event or a work event and you're like, this is my friend, and then their face just like drops.
Friend.
So that's like me and you going somewhere new and I'm like, so this is my business associate because we do a podcast together.
Right.
Girl, we've been friends for how long? Like,
we're
beyond that now. So like, just, you know, making sure that the category fits whatever the actual, I guess, relationship really illustrates. Yeah.
And it's okay for things to evolve. That's the biggest thing. Like, if they evolve, they evolve. If they don't, so be open to it. Yeah.
You know, but also have discernment, because the flip side could also be the case where it's like you too open. And that ain't what they supposed to be doing or who they are for you in your life. Right. And now you are, you know, finding yourself disappointed because they're not meeting expectations. So
okay. I have another question.
Okay.
What is a good way to kind of like end a friendship?
I don't want to talk to you no more. Blocked.
Team blocked. Okay. I'm on the block ministry. Okay.
We're done.
I won't even say that. You'll just be blocked and wonder why your message won't be delivered. But yeah, because sometimes it's natural, so it just naturally fades away. Yeah. Sometimes it's not, and it's kind of unhealthy to just kind of ignore a person and just be like, I hope they get the idea that I don't want to be their friend anymore. Right. So what's like a healthy way or to communicate, like, I don't think this friendship is beneficial to me anymore? Because sometimes that happens. You can say, you know, I don't think
this friendship is beneficial to me anymore.
Do you say like that?
I mean, that's nice in my opinion.
Yeah, kind of nice, I guess.
That is hard though.
Yeah,
because low key is so much easier to ghost somebody and block.
Let me tell you,
and
nobody likes being ghosted though.
Nobody likes being ghosted
because it's
but it will tell me a lot about you. I mean, that also just says about you as a person, like you avoid conflict, which is not always a good thing.
Yeah, it's not the healthiest.
It's not healthy. So I mean, I think again, just like you communicate boundaries, you communicate that, you know, the relationship is no longer serving you, or it's, you know, I like to take ownership of things. So I will start conversations off like, I've been doing a lot of reflection. The season I'm in my life has caused me to transition into a space where I feel like this relationship is not meant to go.
That's good.
Like, and it can come off as passive aggressive to some people. But yeah, that's what I feel like, that's how I would handle the situation, because again, I'm not taking you out to explain why we're no longer gonna be friends, but also I think that kind of conversation needs to also have boundaries, because some people can take that and say like, okay, so does that mean we're never talking again? Like, we still have each other's numbers, like, are we gonna text? Like, are we just ending all communication? Like, I think there needs to be clarity there. You know, because I would still probably like, just, hey, how you doing? Just thought you crossed my mind, just checking in. But just because I'm checking in doesn't mean we about to like
be friends
again. It's just you were on my mind. So that could be really tricky too. So, but at the very least, you know, I'm in a new season, I'm transitioning. Or if the person did something, say that too. So let me be clear.
Yeah,
don't gloss over it if the person did something. Sometimes friendships just fade. Right. But if the person has done something to you, let them know because low key, y'all trash, and not y'all, but they trash and they need to get their life together.
Yeah, let them know because they're being a bad friend.
Yeah, they would just go to the next friend and do the same thing, and now you're just out here being a crappy friend versus really taking time to grow again. Mm-hmm. And they can't grow if they don't know that whatever they have done is affecting the relationships that they've built.
That's true, because that happened to me back in college. Mm-hmm. I had 2 friends from middle school who were still in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And when I would come home to visit, they were always wanting to hang out, but I would not hang out with them. Not on purpose, not that I didn't want to hang out with them, but literally when I came home for the weekend, I was trying to get my laundry washed by my mama, eat her food, and
normal college stuff.
Yeah. At the time I had a boyfriend, so I'll probably be with him. Mm-hmm. I wasn't hanging out with my friends. Me and Brittany hardly ever came home at the same time, other than like holidays. Yeah. So we didn't really hang out. I would hang out with like some of our other friends from high school. Yeah. But these friends, it happened maybe a Christmas break, a Thanksgiving break, a Christmas break, then a spring break. Mm-hmm. I didn't hang out with them. Mm-hmm. So one of them texted me and told me I was a terrible friend because I was not making time for them. Sure. And, you know, she really had to reevaluate the friendship. At the time, I was just like, okay, whatever, girl. I also was like 19. So my mindset was totally different. I was like, okay. Since then, we have transitioned forward and we've tried to reestablish a friendship. And it don't work. Yeah. Like we're cool, you know, we're friends on Facebook, like each other's kids' pictures and things like that. Mm-hmm. You know, she's invited me to something she's had when she came back to Atlanta to visit. She no longer lives here. But it has not been natural since that time. Yeah. And for a long time I struggled because I felt like I was the downfall of that relationship. Mm-hmm. But I had to realize, like, even if you've been in a place when you haven't been the best friend, that it's okay that that, you know, maybe you can't reestablish a friendship, and that's okay too. Like, you don't have to hold on to every friend you've ever had, but you try to always be the best friend that you can be. We are human, so we all can fall short in any area, and you just take, you know, that lesson and move forward and just be better in your other friendships, like Brittany stated. Like, you use it as an opportunity to grow, but don't and I guess I was saying that to say, don't try to force a reestablishment because you feel bad that you used to be a bad friend, right? Especially if you've grown. If something is meant to be, it will naturally happen.
Yeah, the Bible says there's a time and season for everything under the sun. Okay, a time to live, a time to die, a time to grow, a time to plant, a time to harvest. Yep. Time to cry, a time to laugh, and that most definitely applies to friendships. And my thing is, when you end any type of relationship with somebody, romantic or otherwise, business relationships, there should be something you're taking with you from that relationship. And I don't mean like taking as in like a selfish act, but you should never leave a relationship having not learned something about yourself. Right. You should never remain in a relationship where you're not learning about yourself or growing, or developing. Yeah. So it's never an opportunity to say like that was a waste of my time, right? Or, you know, I can't let go because I've spent so much time. No, you can absolutely let go because you got what you needed from that space with that person, and now it's time to move on and take whatever that is and use it for the next season in your life. Yeah, and that's okay. It is. Period. Period. So yeah. That was a good talk.
Yeah, I was just about to say something.
Good talk.
That was really good. And I hope that you guys gained something. Let us know your favorite takeaway from today's lesson. Yeah. How do you maintain healthy friendships? And don't forget, tag your best friend, tag your friends, share this with them. Let them know that you love them and that you want to have a healthy friendship with them.
What about your friends? I don't know the rest of the words, but I love TLC and it was on my mind. All right, y'all.
She had to beat them.
I did. And it didn't even rhyme, but I kept it on beat.
She kept it on beat. But thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next time at Sisterhood Debrief, where we discuss all things sisterly,
godly,
and ratchet. Bye, y'all.